So this is one from Sane Akayoshin. That's one that's been a while coming. Ruin King Thor versus Chaos War Hercules. Now I've heard of Ruin King Thor. I hadn't read that run, but no, he's an alternate version of Thor's who were killing Donald Blake's and um, Jane Foster's all across the multiverse. He's exceptionally powerful. That's the whole point why people put him against, other versions of like Hercules, stuff like that, because he is exceptionally powerful. So it's basically described as he scales basically above every other character in the multiverse except cosmic entities themselves. That's how powerful Ruin King Thor basically became. And Thor normally is a multiversal level individual anyway, at least in some respects, like physical strength, the whole Yggdrasil tree, all the feet, all that. Like Thor is a beast normally. And you're telling me that basically only cosmic level entities like Eternity, Infinity, Oblivion, Phoenix Force, full-fed Galactus. They actually said he can't beat a full-fed Galactus, but a hungry Galactus, he might be able to beat. But Living Tribunal, those guys. Apart from that, no, he's like top dog, kind of. And he's kind of a bad guy, too, which is something to really take into consideration. But Chaos War Hercules is... so he basically has all the powers of Thor amped up. But Chaos War Hercules is a little bit harder to kind of pin down. Because that's not really a form Hercules takes. He absorbs actually the power not of the Chaos King, but he's able to match the Chaos King in the Chaos War story arc, and then undo what the Chaos King did. The Chaos King, by the by, was basically powered by the power of every god and deity in the Marvel universe. Hercules' durability was such that when he was attacked and seemingly fatally wounded by his Chaos King empowered sister, Athena, he showed no sign of pain and healed instantly. And then he annihilated her. Finally, and once the threat of the Chaos King was ended, the power of the sky. Basically, he's not known as Chaos. You should know he's not really known as Chaos King or Chaos War Hercules. He's more known as Skyfather Hercules. But power of this Hercules was such he was able to undo everything the Chaos King had done, including restoring every destroyed planet realm, resurrecting every being or entity that had been perished by the Chaos King's hand. Unfortunately for Hercules, to do this, he was severely wounded in his final battle with the Chaos King and unwilling to wait until he was healed. The final act of universal restoration used up every bit of his godly might, including some of his usual previous non-sky powers. So yeah, it was pretty impressive, like some of the feats he pulled off in the Chaos War series, just based on what I read. But if we're going to call him Chaos War, like I get Hercules, I think it's better to call him Skyfather Hercules, but we'll call him Chaos War Hercules. The question simply comes down to, on a power perspective, which one of these guys is the stronger? And honestly, I think I got to go with Ruin King Thor. Now, when they've fought in the past, Hercules and Thor, they're roughly equal, but Thor usually does bring some abilities that Hercules just doesn't have under his belt. Hercules versus Thor. Like, if I just, who's actually, like, bested each other, can Hercules beat Thor in the comics? In Marvel Comics, between the Greek and Asgardian pantheons, a drunken Hercules proves to be a superior fighter in Thor, who fails to escape Hercules' wrestling hold. However, Thor secures the victory by using his lightning to knock out Hercules. That's kind of where the issue lies here, that even normally, Hercules might be the more physically powerful of the two of them, but Thor has more enough abilities under his belt to kind of counteract Hercules normally. Now, if you then amp them up to what their strongest forms kind of rely, you got a guy who can literally remake the universe if he needs to undo the damage, beat someone who was literally destroying the universe. But does he stack up to, say, Galactus, even a weakened Galactus? Does he stack up to a Thanos? Probably does stack up to a Thanos at that point. But the question just comes down to which one of these guys is the stronger in their specific pantheons, and because in their respective domains when they're maxed out here. I would personally have to go with Ruin King Thor in this argument, due to the fact that just normally Thor has more abilities under his belt and is still strong enough to hurt Hercules. So you amp that up to his max potential, and that means he's already kind of has an edge on Thor or Hercules just on ability scale. But don't forget, Rune King Thor also possesses the abilities of pretty much all of the Odin Force. He has nigh omniscience, nigh omnipotent abilities, Odin Force. And while, yes, Skyfather Hercules does have the ability to kind of reshape reality, it's not to the same extent as someone, say, like a Celestial, as far as we can tell, or a Galactus. Individuals that, again, Thor himself can't beat. But it's difficult because if we're using these guys at their max capacity here, Thor has proven to be a more dangerous individual just in terms of his scaling feats than Hercules has. And again, if you max that out, that scaling, theoretically, Hercules gained a lot more abilities, but Thor already just amped all of his abilities. And again, you're really just looking at the top individuals in the verse who are stronger than Rune King Thor. And I mean like the top individuals, the abstract beings, the one above alls, all those guys, Beyonders. Whereas Hercules, Chaos War Hercules, as strong as he is, does seem to, I mean, again, we just don't know where he really lies in terms of his pantheon. Like, if I were to look up Chaos War Hercules one more time, or let's try Skyfather Hercules, Skyfather, Skyfather Hercules, Skyfather Hercules Marvel. Oh, it's one word, sorry. So Hercules, Marvel, Skyfather. I mean, the question just becomes, where do you put his overall level of power? I mean, they say, like, his lifting strength, all that is immeasurable, but that's just sheer strength. We're not looking now at his strength. We're looking at beyond that. We're looking at all the powers he pretty much has under his belt when he became, Skyfather, Ruin, Chaos War, if you will. And unfortunately, I'm not finding a good list. Skyfather, there we go. So attack, potency, Galactic, Outerversal, yeah, but Rune King Thor has that as well, beyond Outerversal, if even. Lifting strength, range, but he's also got, like, they're not lift, like, this is why I don't like going to the versus wiki very often, is because they don't actually list, what he's actually capable of doing in terms of his actual abilities. They're just saying, attack potency and all this. So, but just for the sake of argument, let's see what they have to say about Rune King Thor on the versus wiki. Because as it stands, because Thor tends to be the naturally better individual fighter here, I would say Rune King Thor probably is the winner, but I'm trying to see here. Rune King Thor. Let's try versus wiki. Versus wiki. That'd also be a good question if you think he's stronger, because Thor technically was a threat to Null, but not, like, kind of just Null kind of bitch smacked him around a little bit and then just kept him at bay. But you think, because Null falls into a very unique group of characters, because he is a being that it predates the universe, so he does probably count as sort of a cosmic-esque entity, to some degree. Okay, Rune King Thor. Come on, just let me. Oh man, they will not let me check out Rune. There we go, Rune King Thor. He was more. Okay, so apparently Rune King Thor had evolved. Was reborn after hanging himself, evolving past death. Okay, so he was more or less immortal. He had soul manipulation, biological manipulation, telepathy, cosmic awareness, precognition. Okay, yeah, so Rune King Thor, where does his attack potency lie? Because that's the real big feat, after all. So he gained far more abilities than normal Thor even had. And normal Thor usually can best Hercules with his standard level of abilities. Both these guys apparently have outerversal levels of power to them, so yeah, when you factor in that Rune King Thor gained God knows how many extra abilities on top of that, I'd probably have to lean towards, where's my phone? Oh, there's my phone. I'd probably have to lean towards Rune King Thor. Unfortunately, once you get the levels of power this high, the the scaling gets all over the place. It's why I tend to, and not that I tend to necessarily avoid, but I don't look forward to trying to calc these guys. But yeah, I'd probably go Ruin King Thor myself. This is just my opinion, though, based on the information I have at hand. Let me know what you think. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.